So if you're like most people, you've watched court TV, Law and Order, a courtroom drama of some kind in a movie or on a TV program. And if there's a compelling enough case made, there's a conviction. Well, if you think about buyers buying a product, a service, or whatever your company has to offer, they too have to become convicted. This one's not a life sentence, or maybe it is in a good way. It's a conviction to buy. Yet buyers buy when they become convicted to do so, not because you've told them to do so. And so I want to give you a very simple three-step process. It's really ABC, and the words that are the process start with those letters. So let's start with A. So A is for asking questions, and the questions have to be open-ended, and they have to get them thinking the thoughts they haven't been thinking. So for example, if you said to me, your service is way too expensive, I could ask you a provocative question to get you thinking the thoughts you've never thought, like, well, what's it costing you not to use our service? If you think about that for a minute, their frame of reference has been too expensive. I'm creating a frame of reference for them to think about too expensive not to use. It's a thought they haven't thought about before. If you play that one out, you might even be able to add to the conversation examples that back up what they have to say. So that's your A, asking. So now we move on to B. And B is building the case using their thoughts, their ideas, their experiences. So if you're the prospect, in this case, you say to me when I ask the question, what's going to cost you not to use my service or my product? You say, lost opportunity. I could say, tell me some examples of what might that look like. And then I could reinforce with stories. I could say, you know, I have another customer who said exactly the same thing. Their experience was, and I reinforce with a parachute story, just drop in a little story, couple sentences. So notice the compelling case starts with asking, it's all their ideas, new thoughts. I take those ideas, I build it into the case. And now we're ready for C. C is for challenging. And what you're going to challenge are any assumptions they have, beliefs that may not be on track, conundrums, confusion or conundrums of any kind that they have, and any delusions. You know, believe it or not, your prospects and customers are delusional sometimes. They're really not thinking the right way. You have experience that shows that. So let's take, for example, assumptions. They may assume that, well, things are going to stay the same. Again, if you can reinforce with stories, it's their assumption. If you can reinforce with stories that show that's different, you can help build the case. So that's all there is to it. You ask, and you ask those questions that get them thinking different thoughts. They become convicted in having some new ideas. Using that, you build the case. You build the case using their ideas with your stories to back up a different direction. And then C, you challenge anything that needs to be challenged. If there's anything that's going to get somebody convicted to buy, it's that, because it's headed them in a new direction.